million inhabitants, the second largest city in the United States, but it seems a lot further away than that. We're here in beautiful Avalon on Santa Catalina Island for the second running of the Catalina Triathlon. I'm Larry Huffman along with Julie Leach. Julie is a world-ranked women's triathlete. She's the winner of the Hawaiian Ironman competition, or in her case, the Iron Woman competition. Julie, a jokester once said that a triathlon is a steam, sauna, and shower, but it's a lot tougher than that, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Every course can vary a lot, and this is a real tough, treacherous course with the steepness of the hills, and that means after a hard bike ride up a hill, we have the steep descent, and it's going to take a great bike handler to get down that hill, too. Then you have the run, which you're going to see, I think, a lot of people walking on that first hill.
It starts with a half-mile swim through the clear, cool waters of Avalon Bay, followed immediately by a 14-mile bike ride up a lot of very steep hills, followed by a 4-mile run up equally steep hills. That sets the stage for the running of the Stroh's Santa Catalina Island American Race Challenge. We'll be right back. The Stroh's Santa Catalina American Race Challenge is being brought to you by bikes and equipment for the run. Last-minute adjustments can mean that critical edge of a few seconds, which can make the difference between victory and just a tough day. The angle and height of the bicycle seat can affect performance, especially here on a winding mountainous course rated as the toughest of its length anywhere in the world. Many races are won not on the course, but here in the transition area. From the swim, fingers numb from the cold water, participants must be able to slip into riding shorts, socks, and shoes quickly and effortlessly, lacing or securing the shoes with a pull of a string. Wetsuits not only protect the body from cold, but some say can increase the racer's speed. They can be extraordinarily unwieldy in the transition, however. Emilio De Soto has outfitted his race bike with rear-wheel fairings, a device not normally used on hill courses, since it primarily adds speed in the flat, straight racing. Each triathlete has his own equipment strategy, and the way he lays out his gear is also unique. And here's someone who must know about what's in store on the course. This participant will be riding a mountain bike designed for dirt trails or for no roads at all.
Well, the transition area now stands empty as the swimmers line up on the beach for the start of the Stroh's Santa Catalina Island American Race Challenge. We'll be covering the swim from both above and below. Up above, Larry's in the lead helicopter to catch the start. Larry?
Thanks, Julie. They're off and in the water. It looks like Montgomery in the lead.
That's right, Larry. Montgomery did get off in the lead, and it looks like Leach and Filippo, as best as I can see from here. It's tough getting a good start in cold water like this because that initial shock can cause the muscles to tense up, so swimmers have to exert extra effort to catch the lead. That's another advantage to using a wetsuit. Rubber wetsuits have not always been available to distance swimmers. Let's take a look at a moment from Stroh's racing history and see what swimmers did to keep warm in the water 60 years ago.
Santa Catalina has a long history of swimming races, which isn't surprising considering it's a Pacific island. It took some pretty powerful motivation to get wet and brave the chilly waters outside Avalon Harbor. So back in 1927, Bill Wrigley offered $25,000 for the first man or woman to cross the 21-mile Santa Catalina Channel in the water and not on it. Because this was before anyone even thought of rubber wetsuits, each swimmer had their own special brew of gooey greases mixed with other mysterious ingredients, which they then smeared on their bodies before the race to conserve body heat in the water. Some use white color grease, others use black. Each swimmer had his own secret blend. Looks like the fellow in the middle had an additional secret weapon for extra speed. He's not wearing a bathing suit. Greasing up was a two-man job, but with over 20 miles of Pacific Ocean to cross, it was well worth it, especially with $25,000 at stake. George Young, the big winner of a different kind of Santa Catalina American Race Challenge 60 years ago. It took 12 hours to do what a champion swimmer today can do in under 8 hours.
Thanks for that, David. We've got Filippo, number 1, Montgomery, number 2, now approaching the halfway buoy. Filippo rounds the buoy. Wait, it looks like a swimmer. I believe it's De Soto. He's gone inside the buoy. And Leach just dove down and came up 2 positions ahead in second place. Okay, it's Filippo still in front, Montgomery and Leach as they swim back toward the Catalina Pleasure Pier. Filippo's suit has helped him stay in the lead with Mark Montgomery, Durkin, and De Soto and Leach drafting. Earlier, we talked to Mark about wetsuits.
There's several advantages, and it's going to be the new wave for the swimming portion. You float higher in the water, you stay warmer, you swim faster with a wetsuit. The recent studies have shown that you can swim anywhere from 4 to 6 seconds per 100 faster in a wetsuit.
Filippo is still in front. It looks like Montgomery, Durkin, and DeSoto are hanging back, actually drafting behind Filippo. The front swimmer creates an actual trail or path of water for those behind. He works harder, breaking the surface tension. Filippo's in front. Montgomery with Leach, DeSoto, Durkin, they are all fighting it out for third place. Swimmers go a quarter mile out around the Glacier Pier at the center of Avalon Harbor, then a quarter mile back to the beach and transition area to get on the race bikes and up a fast straightaway along Pebbly Beach Road. Before the race, we talked to Emilio DeSoto about the issue of drafting in the water. You can see from below here how the leader actually creates a path in the water behind him.
Well, just like cycling, drafting is an advantage in swimming, just hanging back of the feet of someone ahead of you. And so if I'm feeling strong, I will take off and try and gain a lead, but obviously then those people behind me will be getting to rest. So as I said, I'll probably just hang back and try and gain the drafting advantage from the lead swimmers.
So is Filippo really in the lead, or is Emilio hanging back on purpose? You've got Filippo in the wetsuit, Montgomery in the red cap, with Leach, Durkin, Shannon, Delaney, DeSoto behind. Montgomery putting on an incredible drive, moving within just a few yards now of the Catalina beach. The crowd cheering him on, and we've got a lot of people here today. That's Montgomery in front. They should be touching down and jumping out of the water. There they go. It is Montgomery first on shore, then Leach, Shannon Delaney, the first girl, and then Filippo and Emilio DeSoto in the other wetsuit. Julie's in the transition area. Let's go to Julie Leach.
Bill Leach in second place, and there's Mark Montgomery racing towards the transition area again in first place. Mike Durkin's gotten to his bike. Bill Leach standing up, putting on his helmet. Hard shell helmets are required. Mark Montgomery off in first place. He's noted for the quickest transitions. Bill Leach right along with him. Mike Durkin, we've got a real race. Getting onto the bike, he's chasing after him. And Filippo, one frustrated guy, struggling with his wetsuit. He's lost his lead, the buoyancy lead the wetsuit gave him. Emilio DeSoto's taken off in the background on his bike, so he's in the race too. Filippo trying to get the wetsuit off. Needs a little practice there. Shannon Delaney taking off on the bike, first place woman. Elaine Allroot, very consistent pro triathlete. Won 9 out of 22 races this year. She's taken off after Shannon. Molly Bettinger, the newcomer to the sport, she's only been competing in the sport of triathlons for 4 months now. She's getting on the bike, and she's ready to take, she's forgotten her helmet. A little bit anxious. She appears to be a little bit anxious here, frantic. She's trying to chase down those girls in front of her. Seems to be having difficulties getting the helmet on. And okay, now she's ready. She's off on the bike, and now she's having trouble getting her foot into the shoe. She's had her shoes already in the toe clips. It's sort of an advanced move, I guess, and she's having troubles getting her feet in, and she's off.
We'll be back in a moment to the Stroh's Santa Catalina Island American Race Challenge. American Race Challenge. The map shows their route down Pebbly Beach, then the first 180-degree turn, which brings them up above the road they're on now. Mark Montgomery is first as they pedal furiously along this road below the cliffs. That's Bill Leach second, 10 years older than Montgomery. And in third with the black fairing on the rear wheel, that's Emilio DeSoto, the Cuban Flash. Born and raised on the island of Cuba, this guy is tough. Look at him pedal and moving up on Leach. Montgomery, 30 years old in front, Bill Leach in second, and DeSoto is gaining on both of them. Mark Montgomery in front. There's Leach, and there goes DeSoto. DeSoto going into second. We talked to Emilio before the race about today's competition, namely Mark Montgomery.
Mark Montgomery has been around for quite a long time. I've been racing him since I started, and he's always done very well in these races, and I would not count him out of finishing up along the top probably 2 or 3, or even win today if he has a good day.
And Montgomery is having a good day, at least for this time. Here comes DeSoto on the outside, leaning forward and pumping those special racing bikes for all they're worth. Around the cliffs on the paved road through Catalina Island. And here's DeSoto on the outside. They are handlebar to handlebar. Montgomery trying to hold off a hard-charging Emilio DeSoto. DeSoto right next to Montgomery. Matching each other, stride for stride, pedal for pedal. Montgomery now opening up a lead. DeSoto with that very distinctive rear wheel. They're both wearing aerodynamic helmets to help prevent drag by creating a smooth surface so the wind can flow around the rider's head. They're coming to the first turn now. Let's see where we are on the map. The map shows the 180-degree turn as the riders head up the hill. And out in front now, Emilio DeSoto, Mark Montgomery running in second spot, and Bill Leach third. The riders shifting down up this very, very steep hill on Catalina Island. Emilio DeSoto in front as they head up the hill. Now, Bill Leach is making a move. And it's Leach in front. The 40-year-old Bill Leach of Newport Beach, California, out in front. DeSoto running second, Montgomery third, and way back in the back, you can just barely see him, Michael Durkin. An incredibly steep hill, and Emilio now making a charge. Emilio DeSoto. And Emilio DeSoto's in front. Let's go to David Stanfield and see where they are on the course. David?
There I'm up here on the highest point of the bicycle course, and this is called Wrigley Terrace, and it is beautiful up here. Looking over at the Catalina scenery, you can see down into Avalon Harbor. If you've got a boat, coming over from the mainland is great because there's plenty of anchorage, and for diving, clear water, fresh air, this is great. Now, for the Stroh's American Race Challenge, the challenge is coming up this hill, but the adventure is going to be going down. The road is windy, it's rough, there's some potholes, and they're going to be reaching some treacherous speeds. Back to you.
Wrigley Terrace is the highest part of the bicycle course, so the riders labor to the top and then head down the treacherous hills south of Avalon. Here are our leaders as they approach the crest of the hill. It's Emilio DeSoto in front, Mike Durkin second, and Montgomery in third. And falling back a bit is Bill Leach in fourth spot. They're pedaling those Ultra Trek racing bicycles through some very, very deep and difficult potholes on a torn-up old road here at Catalina Island. They approach the turn at Wrigley Terrace. And there they go, around the top. Earlier we talked to Durkin and DeSoto about the toughness of this course.
This course is it's either up or down, and on the ups you're just really riding hard. You really haven't got time to take a drink, and then on the downhills it's really a treacherous course, so you probably want to have both hands on the bars at all times.
I understand that there's a chance that this course might be chosen as the toughest sprint course. Now, you've had a chance to ride the course and run the course beforehand, take a look at it. What do you think about it?
Definitely it is the toughest in terms of physical terrain. It's been called Nice of California because of the steep hills and sharp turns and very slick roads. It's going to require a lot of cycling skill as well as strength in terms of riding it effectively.
They've passed below Mount Ada, formerly the Wrigley family home, and now it's a bike handler's race as they gain speed down these incredibly steep slopes. They angle into sharp turns and try to avoid the potholes. It's early now, and the ground is still wet and slippery in areas of the road. In the lead, Montgomery. Durkin and DeSoto are following. Earlier, we asked Montgomery to comment on his strategy and bike speeds on the course.
Well, in some of the straightaways, the strategy I like to use is to sprint in between the curves. So, on a downhill like that, if it was a straightaway downhill with no turns, you could get up to 50 miles an hour. But with all the hairpin turns, I'm able to get up to maybe 43, 44 just for a few seconds, but then I have to brake right away to get into the turn. So Probably the average speed is under 40 because of all the braking and accelerating, but there are points on that downhill when you're doing over 40 miles an hour. So the front runners are Mark Montgomery, Emilio De Soto, and Mike Durkin. We'll be right back with coverage of the women's race at the Strohs Santa Catalina American Race Challenge. Here's a shot back on the course of the leaders in the women's race, where Molly Bettinger, the newcomer, has surprised everyone by taking the lead out of the transition from seasoned veteran Elena Roots. It is the heated battle back in the men's race. Mike Durkin is in third, Emilio De Soto in second, and now holding a 2, maybe 3-second lead is Mark Montgomery, your race leader. They've just passed the double 90-degree turns from the hill south and into town, where race directors had asked for extra caution because of the dangerous sharp left, then sharp right turns. It is still Montgomery, De Soto, Durkin, and Leach. Now let's go up to the Skycam.
Mark Montgomery out in front. This is the battle for second between Emilio De Soto and Mike Durkin, and they are getting close down there on the ground, Dave Stanfield.
This is an uphill battle for both of them. They're heading up Monument Drive, past the horse stables, past the golf course, and the winner, last year's winner of this race, Mark Montgomery, is way out in front. There's a lead change. For second place, it looks like Durkin is now past De Soto.
Durkin goes into second spot. Emilio De Soto, very distinctive with that black fairing on the rear wheel, has now dropped to third. So it is Durkin in second, and we're watching the battle for second.
It is Emilio De Soto, a lifeguard from San Diego, California. Now he's pumping. He's not giving up one bit. Remember, no drafting in triathlons. You have to stay at least. There is your leader. They are catching up. A two-man race for second has now caught up to your leader, Mark Montgomery. Larry, can you see what's happening from up top?
Montgomery holding on to a lead. It looks from here like he's got about a 10 or 15-foot lead over, that's Durkin and Emilio De Soto battling for second. But right now, Mark Montgomery in front. They make their way past the golf course. It's a slight uphill, and they are straining on those pedals.
Mark Montgomery, 30 years old, from Lucadia, California. He's in the age group men 30 to 34, and he's got some youngsters going at it.
They go up the uphill. It's a slight uphill grade, and Mark Montgomery still holding on to the lead. Emilio De Soto challenging Montgomery. They are handlebar to handlebar, neck and neck. De Soto putting the pressure on. Let's look at the map and see where we are on the course.
Our leaders have passed the horse stables, passed the golf course, which is near the upper turn on Monument Drive, where they do a 180-degree turn and head back down the hill.
It is Mark Montgomery still in front, but look at less than a bike length behind Emilio De Soto. Durkin is running in third spot. Up on the pedals. These guys are pumping for all they're worth. Mark Montgomery in front. De Soto second. Durkin back out of our picture. As they round the turn, let's get an update with David Stanfield. David?
Larry, I'm here on Memorial Drive, and the competitors have to watch out for a lot of traffic besides the other competitors going uphill and downhill. What we've got is some local trucks and traffic, and it's going to make it a little bit difficult going into the transition area. Back to you up in the Skycam.
So Mark Montgomery in front. We're looking at him from the camera helicopter, and Durkin moving up, and Emilio De Soto also coming up. No, De Soto is going to second now. Mark Montgomery, we can barely pick him out down on the ground in front.
Through the streets of Avalon goes Mark Montgomery, Emilio De Soto, and Mike Durkin, and there's Molly Bettinger. Good golly, Miss Molly, 23 years old, from Irvine, California, and there is second place. The second place woman transplanted from Honolulu, that's Elena Roots, 30 years old. Larry, they're following the same route we just saw the men take up Monument Drive to the turnaround, then back down through traffic, then out to the beginning of the second loop. And Molly's out in front. Elaine is in second. Here comes Elaine. Look at the speed they're getting. And whoa! Just about ate her lunch there. Look at the pickup truck. Local traffic is really creating some problems today. Larry, what's happening in the men's race?
Meanwhile, out in front, Emilio De Soto with that distinctive black fairing on the rear of his bike, looking very, very strong in this race at this point. David?
DeSoto, he's out to do it. Remember, last week, you already said it, last week he won the triathlon over Durkin. Now he's got another challenger, Mark Montgomery, but he's out in front and moving fast.
These guys are really on the gas. They are passing slower traffic, and Emilio DeSoto, the Cuban Flash, is on the gas in front.
Well, today I will be racing on the bike I've been racing on all year long, but I'll have regular road bars on it, and I'll be riding with a wheel that's got fairings on it. It sort of simulates a disc, but with not quite as much weight. So the wheel will be very light so that I can climb up the hills, and yet the disc action of the fairings will help me on flat ground to gain more speed.
Emilio DeSoto's race strategy seems to be working. He is on the gas here in this very, very tough field. DeSoto with the black fairing rear wheel out in front. David Stanfield.
Now you can see they are already passing slower traffic. People on the first loop, believe it or not. Slow swimmers, second wave swimmers, now they're entering traffic. It's going to become quite difficult.
They're coming to the first turn, which is a 180, and it's DeSoto still in front. No, wait, there goes Leach into second past Montgomery. In the turn, Leach passes DeSoto and leads it, but there goes Montgomery on a charge on Leach and DeSoto. DeSoto surges ahead and Leach drops back as Durkin pulls into third. Up the hill, DeSoto, Montgomery, Durkin, and Leach has dropped out of sight. They're sailing by those lap riders as if they were parked. Here on the uphill, it's fortunate that it's still cool. Going down the other side, the coolness makes the roads wet and dangerous. Unbelievable racing as they hammer each other, these incredible triathletes. Unbelievable physical conditioning. Let's see where we are on the map. The yellow circle shows the riders just approaching the highest part of the bike course, Wrigley Terrace. From there, they swoop downhill to town. Whoa, Montgomery is on the move. He's blowing past DeSoto. Pushing hard up the crest of the hill at Wrigley Terrace. Then it's downhill from there. Into the turn, it's now Montgomery, DeSoto, Durkin with Leach back and forth. And we'll be right back.
For a short pictorial tour of this beautiful island, Santa Catalina.
Santa Catalina Island, just 21 miles off the California coast as the seagull flies, is a lush green jewel visited by people from all over the world, but frequented most often as a secret hideaway by Southern Californians who view it as a place to relax for a few days, totally out of the mainstream of mainland life, and accessible in minutes by regularly scheduled helicopter, seaplane, and commercial airline. Accessible in minutes by regularly scheduled helicopter, seaplane, and commercial airlines. There are many fine hotels here, but you can't rent a car. You can only rent golf cart-like vehicles to explore the same hills and back roads we're seeing today on the course. Santa Catalina Island's main town, Avalon, is celebrating its 100-year birthday and welcomes the Stroh's American Race Challenge. Montgomery is still leading as they pass below Mount Ida, formerly the Wrigley family home. And now it's a bike handler's race as they gain speed downhill. It's still Montgomery, DeSoto, and Durkin. Further back up the hill at Wrigley Terrace, the women's race still has Molly in front and Elaine second.
More than halfway through the 14-mile bike ride, the men are now coming into town, approaching the sharp 90-degree turn at Clementi Street and a sharp right turn onto Fremont Avenue. There's the leader, Mark Montgomery, and Emilio DeSoto crashes, goes into a car. And there's another rider there. Let's look at that one more time. There's DeSoto. He goes out of the screen and into a car. That rider does not have a helmet on. He's a recreational rider, and I don't know what he's doing on the course, but he took the better line through the turn, and DeSoto going so fast, can't make the turn, and he slides underneath the car, and he's wedged right now trying to get his bike out from underneath there. Tough luck for Emilio DeSoto. DeSoto finally gets his bike out from underneath that truck, the only car parked on Fremont Avenue. Now, going up Monument Drive Hill, it's Montgomery in front, pumping up the hill, followed by Mike Durkin. There's Montgomery, blue and white shorts, and there is Mike Durkin, now in second place. Lots of traffic on this road, even some golfers. There's some golfers trying to get across, but the traffic is heavy as the leaders pass the slower riders. They're on the second loop. And here comes third place, a bruised up Emilio DeSoto. And he is pumping very hard, trying to catch up with second place Mike Durkin and your leader, Mark Montgomery. Heading up Monument Drive Hill.
It's still Montgomery in front with a good lead over Durkin in second position as they make the turnaround at the top of Monument Drive. Montgomery and Durkin have seen DeSoto, and they are going wide open down that hill. They are coming out of the 5 Points intersection from Monument Drive onto Sumner Avenue, which ends in 2 long blocks in the transition area. Let's go to Julie.
Mark's known for his fast transitions. You can see why. Here he comes, smooth right up to the rack, easy off, ready to get his shoes on. In just about 3 seconds, Mark Montgomery's up and running. Here comes Durkin, he's pulled in. Back on Sumner, DeSoto's moving fast to the transition. Durkin's got his bike in the rack, he's putting on his running shoes, seems to be having a little bit of trouble. Okay, he's grabbed his shirt and he's off to catch Mark Montgomery. And there's DeSoto, bent over near his bike. He's ready, he leaps out, he's pointing to his leg, must be that injury from the bike.
Montgomery is moving up Marilla Avenue. He's had the lead now since the hill up to Wrigley Terrace and still got a commanding lead. Durkin appears to be gaining on him though. And I can even make out DeSoto just rounding the corner at the bottom of Marilla, way back there. Let's take a look now at the women's race. It is Molly Benger from Orange, California, still leading. She's 23 years old, and believe it or not, until 4 months ago, she never knew there was a professional triathlon circuit. In the red there, Elaine Alroots. Elaine, she has been winning triathlon since 1982. And here's your leader, Mark Montgomery from Leucadia, California, 30 years old. Durkin, Mike Durkin is closing in. He's on second place, and just rounding that turn back there, that is Emilio DeSoto. DeSoto coming on strong. Now let's take a look at the map and see exactly where they're at. The runners will move up a winding uphill road north of Avalon, out of sight of town, then circle back mostly downhill to the Chimes Tower Road. Montgomery's lead is starting to evaporate with both Durkin and DeSoto moving up. He's starting to look tired, and he's still got a lot of uphill to go. Let's take a look back to the women's race in the transition area.
Molly's arrived, she's gotten into her running shoes and with a lot less problem than she had in the transition between the swim and the bike race. She's moving out with a comfortable lead. And here comes Elaine down Sumner. She's really moving slowly, methodically. Here she is, cruising up, dismounts, racks her bike, out of the helmet, nothing too fast, off of the bike shoes and into the running shoes. But meanwhile, she's giving Molly quite a lead. All right, looks like she's ready. Okay, she's off. Oh, she's going the wrong way. Oh, now she's okay.
It is Mark Montgomery, again from Leucadia, California, 30 years old, a co-course designer here with race director Bill Fulton, so he knows the course real well. And he is being challenged. That is Mike Durkin, and Durkin takes over the lead. Mike Durkin has now put last year's race winner in second spot. And Durkin, look at the kick he has, and look at the power. He is concentrated, and he's got plenty of energy, and now he's pulling away from Montgomery, who looks very tired. Montgomery, not much of a kick left. And way in the back, it is DeSoto just about coming in. There's DeSoto. Emilio DeSoto, who crashed earlier on his bicep, is coming up. Larry, can you see him?
We can see the leaders, and that's, of course, Montgomery and Durkin battling up in front. Now, remember, they have just finished a half-mile swim. They've a 14-mile bike ride and a 4-mile run, and it's unbelievable. And looks like DeSoto is starting to move up on him. That is Emilio DeSoto, the Cuban Flash. He crashed the bicycle, remember, and he's looking mighty strong. Back to you on the ground, David.
This is Bill Leach, 40 years old, from Newport Beach, California, a super triathlete. He looks like he's experienced some leg cramps right there, and he's currently in fourth spot and trying to hold on to that. The run is his least favorite, but right now, the run, it looks like a strong point here from Michael Durkin, the 27-year-old, originally from Las Cruces, New Mexico, now pulling out ahead. Durkin looking very strong. Montgomery now fading back, and look at Emilio DeSoto in third spot and reeling in Montgomery. And they are spaced out perfectly here.
DeSoto, unbelievable what this guy has done. He crashed underneath the car, got up, totally tore out the side of his leg. He's got bruises and cuts all up and down his leg, and he is coming on strong in third spot. Back to you, David Stanfield.
Again, it was DeSoto who defeated Durkin just a week ago. So this is a grudge match, and it is Durkin with a great kick here. And look at him cut corners like they're in a sports car race, going from one inside turn to the next one. the shortest distance.
Durkin is in the lead. DeSoto is passing Montgomery for second. This is unbelievable. This guy crashed into the side of a car. He got back up again and has fought his way into second. DeSoto, an unbelievable race here, and he is going after Durkin. Mike Durkin for the lead. Unreal. We'll be right back with more exciting coverage from the Stroh's Santa Catalina American Race Challenge.
American Race Challenge. Here's a map showing where the race leaders are on the course. The runners have moved around. Back of the hills are now approaching Avalon. Again, Emilio DeSoto charging hard on the leader, Mike Durkin. And that is Emilio DeSoto, bib number 2, and he is heading downhill, a freshly paved road, and the speed, look at the speed they have right now. It is DeSoto just about catching Durkin. He does. DeSoto to the inside. And DeSoto cuts him off, moves right in front. It is DeSoto now. DeSoto makes his move around this right-hand turn, and it is Emilio DeSoto from Mission Beach, San Diego area in the lead, and Mike Durkin following close behind.
And there's the distance between them. There goes Durkin right up shoulder to shoulder with Emilio DeSoto, but DeSoto is holding on to the lead.
Psychological warfare here. Is Durkin holding back? Saving energy. Molly Bettinger is way out in front, still running very strong, and in the second position, Elaine Alrutz is nowhere in sight. Let's break away for just a moment. In the stock market, it's bull or bear. Here on Santa Catalina, it's buffalo. Let's take a look.
A group of 14 buffalo were brought here to Santa Catalina Island in 1924 as part of the filming of the movie Vanishing American. The producers asked William Wrigley Jr., who then owned and lived on the island, if he wanted to keep them here. Mr. Wrigley felt it would be a tourist attraction to preserve a herd of the beasts. Now that herd numbers 520 and is controlled by the Santa Catalina Island Conservancy, which Mr. Wrigley established to keep the island a natural national treasure. The American buffalo, once in herds of thousands throughout the American West, resides mostly in zoos, and ironically, now having themselves become the vanishing Americans, have retired to this beautiful Pacific island. It's still DeSoto in front. Durkin trying to regain the lead. He just lost. He is charging hard and gaining as we move to the Chimes Tower. Durkin is only a few steps behind. It looks like he may take the lead back again from DeSoto. At the Chimes Tower, DeSoto is desperately trying to widen his lead as Durkin pushes to regain it. David, what is your position?
Blair, I'm just about town, and halfway into their descent, Emilio and Mike have definitely locked horns. They're coming around the turn right now. Don't forget Mark Montgomery in third. And back there, top woman runner, that is Molly Bettinger, and she's coming on real strong. Back to you.
If you've just joined us, this is the Stroh's Santa Catalina Island American Race Challenge.
It is DeSoto and Durkin. And right now, it is a head-to-head race. It's anybody's race. It is DeSoto now on the inside. Number 2 on his bib. Durkin number 3. Durkin to the outside wearing black. And Durkin falls behind just a little bit trying to cut that corner. So DeSoto has a slight lead, but Durkin again moves up now on the outside. And look at this downhill stretch.
Unbelievable battle from up here, David Stanfield.
And look, third place. Falling way behind and definitely in pain is Mark Montgomery, a man that has done well, won over 20 triathlons in his stellar career.
They are shoulder to shoulder coming down the hill, and we talked to Emilio earlier about the competition. He told us about the threat from Durkin.
Based on the race from last weekend, Mike Durkin's going to be my big competition. He's a really fine swimmer and a strong cyclist and good runner too. So I think you're probably going to see us pretty close side by side, or one right behind the other during the entire race.
They are still side by side, stride for stride as the 4-mile run winds down. Let's drop back for a moment and take a look at the women's race.
Molly Bettinger is still out in front. There doesn't seem to be any threat from anywhere. She plods on down this downhill course over halfway through this 4-mile run. She's approaching the turn just before getting into Avalon. And she looks a little lost there for a minute. Yes, left turn Molly. Keep going. There she goes, Larry.
And still looks quite strong moving into the city streets where the hills are not quite as steep. Now this is some performance for a girl who has never run a major triathlon before. David, he's moved up now to catch the leaders in the men's race. David, take it away.
There I'm here at the Catalina Canyon Resort Hotel turn, and this marks 1 mile to go in the race. Now it's downhill all the way from here to the finish line. These racers have already run 3 miles, lots of strenuous uphills, but it's going to be a sprint to the finish line, it looks like. Here come the leaders. They're still shoulder to shoulder. We are on the last mile, the downhill into Avalon. An incredible sprint triathlon here on Santa Catalina Island. Right now, leading is Michael Durkin. Durkin leads DeSoto, but you can by 1 foot. DeSoto to the inside. Now he changes. A little bit direction. He goes to the outside. It is downhill here, and they can see town. Emilio DeSoto and Michael Durkin. Durkin wearing black. DeSoto closest to the camera. Stride for stride, they are right on it with each other. And look at this downhill. The lady in the back couldn't ride up her bike up. She had to push her bike up this hill. Very difficult. Again, it is DeSoto and Durkin neck to neck as they come in the final mile here. Larry, what's it look like from the sky cam?
Well, you can see Durkin moving up, David. He's taking slightly larger strides than Emilio. It looks like with each step he's about an inch closer, and he's going to take the lead again, it looks like now. There he goes, and they have gone behind the building. David?
Durkin has taken the lead. What a race. I've never seen the lead change so many times. Wait, we're trying to move faster to stay in front of them. DeSoto has taken the lead again. He's out in front as they come to a turn. DeSoto flailing wildly, almost jumping into the lead, Larry.
Durkin is on DeSoto like a Christian on an airport traveler. Looks like they've almost bumped into each other. Look at this, down the straightaway to the end. Back to you, David.
It looks like they did bump, but I couldn't see it. They're certainly close enough. An incredible sprint race. And this is it, a final sprint race. What a surge. Who's going to make the move? Does anybody have it left in him to make a move? Head-to-head, shoulder-to-shoulder, it is Durkin in the black. DeSoto, number 2, red, white, and gray. And there goes Durkin. It is Michael Durkin, 26 years old, leaving the 25-year-old Emilio DeSoto does not have the kick. Durkin is sprinting away. The final 100 yards here.
And there's the distance between them. Durkin in front, DeSoto in second.
Incredible. It is Durkin now. Look at the kick he's got after this sprint triathlon. What a workout. And he is definitely making up lots of time, putting a big gap between he and Emilio DeSoto. Downtown Avalon, Santa Catalina Island. Here comes Michael Durkin, your winner. And here comes Emilio DeSoto from Havana, Cuba originally, now living in Mission Beach, California. The ex-San Diego City lifeguard disappointed. Emilio just couldn't muster that final surge to match Michael Durkin. Limps across the finish line. What a fantastic competitor. Bill Leach, 40 years old, winning the master class. We'll be right back. Race challenge here in Avalon, Santa Catalina Island off Southern California. Here's Julie with Mike Durkin, the winner.
Where'd you get into first place there, Mike?
Which time? Good job. Are you okay? Yeah, gotta get washed up.
Fast race really takes it out of you.
A sprint does. I was surprised he didn't go with me at the end, which was nice. Killer run.
Yeah, were you pretty confident maybe you'd get first place today?
I didn't know. Emilio's really tough, and it depends on who wants it the most, I think.
And there is the body of Emilio DeSoto, number 2, and number 2 in this race. Major abrasions on his right leg and his right arm. That could have cost him the race, that bike accident he had.
David, the women's race is unchanged. There's your leader, Molly Bettinger. She has never run a major triathlon before. In the sport, only 4 months. And she is way outdistancing the seasoned veteran in second place, Elaine Allroots, who isn't even in sight now. Molly is a former AAU Ohio State champion swimmer. And now going to UCLA. Good golly, Miss Molly. She looks tired, but she's still going strong. Here's Julie with Emilio to give us his view of that wreck.
I went down around a sharp right turn, and I was in first place at the time with Mark Montgomery and Mike Durkin right behind me, and I fell and my bike slid underneath the truck, and I had a little bit of trouble getting the bike out from underneath the truck. And once I did that, I just got back on and started riding, caught them on the run. just couldn't get away from Durkin though at the very end.
Did that affect your run at all? Did you feel that at all?
Oh yes, tremendously so. The right side of my leg right here is the quadricep is a very important muscle for running, and I felt it every step.
I'm almost glad I survived this one. I'm not usually a chicken rider, but I don't know. Maybe that's what happens when you turn 30. You're real new to the sport. You've just been training for 4 months for triathlons. How'd you get so good so fast? I think that's the question in everybody's mind right now. It beats me. I really don't know. I come from a strong swimming background, and it's been so much fun. I just go out and train a lot, and I'm inspired by people like Julie and a lot of who have had some success in the field, so let's keep trying it. All right, congratulations.
We're here at the Catalina Canyon Hotel on the victory party of the second annual Catalina Triathlon. Julie, any surprises in the women's race? I think it was pretty impressive that Molly could manage a win after only 4 months of competition.
That's right. She's shown a lot of raw talent. I think she's just learning how to harness it.
And she's going to be a threat in the future?
Yeah, I think so, but she's celebrating her first place right now.
In the men's race, I think the question is, could DeSoto have caught Durkin had he not crashed?
He came close, but the win went to Mike.
Very exciting race, and that wraps up the action. On behalf of Julie Leach, I'm Larry Huffman. Thanks for joining us.